Hello everybody, this is Fernando for the latest Cryptids and Monsters video. Alright, let's go ahead and let's do another one here. This one yet again based on one of your newer suggestions. I'm probably going to do maybe one or two more videos after this and give this series a brief rest because I've done probably about 10, maybe up to 12 videos so far if you include some of the cryptids of the week, and I'll start focusing on some other stuff soon. In fact, I'll probably end up doing either the aliens and UFOs or an urban legends series because it's almost been a year since I last talked about them. This one has to do with yet another cryptid that's found within the Philippines. So I've talked about various cryptids and various monsters from that location, always a rich place to find these particular cryptids in. And what I love about it is, yet again, it has to do with yet another real life thing you can come across in this world that may just house a cryptid. You know me, I love the idea that you could come across something that is absolutely 100% real and yet something mystical, something actually could be living within there that you and I would have no idea of, at least in the real world sense. But there it is within the world of cryptids, within that physical object. And so what I'm talking about is this. You're looking at it now. This cryptid goes by various names, but its most common name is Nuno Sa Punso, which I'll talk about more as to its various translations. So let's go ahead and let's share all this fascinating info associated with this cryptid. So what is this Nuno Sa Punso? Well, again, it's a cryptid that's found there in the Philippines, specifically within many, many parts of their forests and of their land as well. It goes by various names on the translation side. So it's most commonly known as the Old Man of the Mound, but other times it's known as the Old Man or the Grandparent or various other versions of it as well. And the way it's physically described is this. This is an elderly looking man who is either 3 feet tall or very, very small, because I read various versions of this cryptid, and you would just think of it as your average elderly man with a long white beard, let's say an elderly skinny-like body, but there it is living within these that you're looking at now, either a very large anthill or a very large termite mound. Remember I was mentioning earlier how this is a real-life thing you can find out there in this world when it comes to this cryptid. And so the notion is this creature, whatever it is, somehow lives within those mounds. And when you come across one within those various forests that are out there, you're supposed to seek specific permission in order to ensure that you're able to come across it or do something on that land in a very respectful and generous manner. Otherwise, if you don't, then you'll be cursed by this Nuno Sa Punso, and I'll talk about more about those curses and then also the ways to defeat them afterward. But yes, just imagine that, a small old man, very long beard. I have no idea how it's able to then live within one of those mounds, specifically if, again, it's about 3 feet tall or less. I totally imagine this is almost like a mystical creature, that it probably shrinks itself in size, and then you're able to then have this thing live within it. Which mounds, as far as anthills or termites, specifically house this Nuno Sa Punso, I do not know. I don't know how people actually there in the Philippines are able to discern that as well. But if someone has any more info on that part, that's something I tried to find more specific stuff to state here, but I wasn't able to, then please share it below, because I'm wondering then how your average anthill is different from one that happens to house a Nuno Sa Punso. But yes, the whole notion of coming across this set of mounds is this. Whether you're doing it just, let's say, going from school to school or home to school, or going from work to home, or even taking a new piece of land and doing some kind of building on it, if you see any of these special anthills or mounds, the people there in the Philippines warn others, including themselves, their friends, their children. They state that they must treat this with a sacred, almost sort of respect. And that's the idea that this thing houses these spirits, whatever these Nuno Sa Punsos are. And the way it goes is, as long as you create something as far as a respect for them. In fact, the actual term that you'll always hear apparently there is tabi tabi po, which apparently translates to please be on the side or please move aside. If you do that, it's almost another way of stating please let me pass by, or I mean no harm as I pass by your territory. Then this creature, whatever it is supposed to let you pass by as is. Of course, you're not even supposed to do anything else in terms of destroying the mound or having some kind of construction around it that would destroy it. Although I do wonder, whenever, let's say, some residences are being built on a specific piece of land, how that's supposed to work. But apparently there's also offerings you can provide, and then that'll allow you to create something there that'll take over the entire piece of land and still do it in a respectful manner when it comes to this creature. And by all accounts, this thing is supposed to be very benign. It's supposed to be very peaceful as long as you do the right steps. Now, of course, there are those who either will ignore these respectful manners, or they'll purposefully, because I was reading some info on this, they'll purposely seek these mounds to destroy them altogether, maybe as a form of dominance or some other form of just pure vent up anger. But yes, if you do anything like that, then here's what could happen. Apparently, if you come across these mounds, there's almost like a trigger alert that comes within them. These Nuno Sa Punsos are supposed to be almost like radar-like with their detection in terms of knowing when someone is about to come across them. And so there they are waiting for you. And if you do so in a respectful manner and you pass by, then everything is cool. But if you decide to do something bad, and apparently tails are spitting on the mound, urinating on the mound, destroying it outright with, let's say, sticks or stones or something else, or just doing just bad things with regards to it, then this thing will curse you. And some of the ways it curses you, and you'll know you'll be cursed up front, is because you're supposed to feel almost like a trickle of something suddenly on you. Like imagine like if a raindrop suddenly fell on you. Well, apparently if you feel that right wherever that part of the raindrop feeling like occurs, like let's say it happens on your arm or it happens on your forehead or the back of your neck, you're done. That's apparently this Nuno Sa Punso has now cursed you, because invisibly it's supposed to be spitting some form of liquid outside of its mouth, and the way it does so, whatever it hits on your part of the body, that's the part of the body that'll be cursed initially, and then it'll start growing more and more. It has waited for you to seek respectfulness coming across it. But if you do something very bad, then that's when immediately it starts launching that spit. That's the way I was reading it whenever I came across this info. But yes, it'll do so, and then you're hit, and then you're pretty much you are forever, you're cursed, and it'll start growing more and more as far as that curse, unless you do other things. Now, how you know you're cursed afterward is this: you're supposed to have various forms of bad things happen across your body. For example, that part that was hit, in terms of that raindrop feeling, you're either going to have extreme swelling or pain on that body, or on a worse end, you're going to start actually vomiting blood, or let's say you start urinating afterward, some black liquid is supposed to come out from it, from your urine, mixed in with it. This is especially true if apparently you decide to severely disrespect these mounds by urinating on them. And then another one that I found interesting was apparently excessive hair growth is supposed to be on the back of your back or something else as far as your neck. And it's supposed to always forever grow, unless again you cause this curse to go away. And then that's the way the story goes. You can ignore the curse, but it'll start growing faster and faster. And the way people realize that they're cursed, obviously not besides this physical stuff, is if they do the usual regular ailments, like maybe they start taking medicine or they start practicing other things that regular doctors recommend, and nothing is occurring, nothing is helping, then that's when people start realizing that, they truly did become cursed by this Nuno Sa Punso. So the way it goes afterward is this: if you wanted to actually get rid of these curses, the number one thing you're supposed to do is you're supposed to go back to the area there, wherever it was you found that mound as far as the anthill or the termites, which by the way is another thing that I was reading. Apparently most of them are anthills, but some of them can involve termites as far as these mounds. I don't know again what the distinction is between the two, why one is preferred by this Nuno Sa Punso as far as the others. So if someone has that info, please let me know on that. But yes, otherwise you're supposed to go back to those locations and then ask for some kind of peaceful forgiveness, apologize in other words too the Nuno Sa Punso, and then the Nuno Sa Punso is supposed to help stop something. Like, you're still going to need to take another step afterward, which I'll mention here in just one moment, but at least with regards to the curse, it'll stop it from growing, because under the worst case scenario, if you just completely ignore this curse and then just let it grow forever, eventually this Nuno Sa Punso is supposed to completely possess you. It'll actually take over your entire mind and your entire body. But then again, that is the worst case scenario. So let's say you do that as far as begging for forgiveness, and you somehow realize that the Nuno Sa Punso at least stopped the escalation. Then the next step is you're supposed to go to a practitioner, a Philippine practitioner of some kind of medicine, but this is more along the lines of, I don't know if you could call it magical medicine or something like that, but it's known as an alburayo, if I'm not saying that correctly, alburayo. And this person is supposed to perform a ritual. And what they do is they take a candle and they melt it into some kind of bowl within the water. Like first they burn it, and then the wax comes off, and then it goes into that bowl. And whatever the shape forms from the wax that's cooling in there, it in turn is supposed to point to whatever is causing the illness. And so that helps create an idea essentially of how to counteract this curse that this Nuno Sa Punso placed. And then this person, this alburayo, is supposed to then offer some kind of fruits or food or other objects that'll help this person become 100% cured. Another way too, apparently, but this one is interesting to say the least. Another way to help at least get this curse off you is you're supposed to offer, and again I'm just reading this as is, you're supposed to offer a quote-unquote obese or plump woman, leave it by the roadside or by the area from this Nuno Sa Punso, and then when you do so, you're supposed to then catch it, because this Nuno Sa Punso is apparently very, very attracted to such ladies, and when that occurs, you can physically catch one whenever it makes itself appear. This one, though, is ill-advised, because if you catch one, the next thing you're supposed to do is kill it, and that's by crushing its head between your fingers. But it's ill-advised, because if you do that, then you're pretty much going to bring the wrath of all the other friends and kin associated with this Nuno Sa Punso. So again, not something that heavily recommended, not let alone the fact, of course, that you're basically taking an innocent woman and then offering this innocent woman to this Nuno Sa Punso to do whatever they want with it. So otherwise, though, please offer an apology to this spirit or whatever this cryptid is, and then also follow the guidelines associated with that magical medicine that's offered by the alburayo, and then you're supposed to be cured afterward. You'll be good, and at least you have learned your lesson as far as coming across these things in a disrespectful manner. But what do you guys think as far as this cryptid, this Nuno Sa Punso? You know me, I love the idea that there could be something there, something hidden, invisible, living within a real life thing. And yet, if you treat it well, then you're fine. But if you do bad things, then something is supposed to come bad from it. Like something will essentially curse you at that point. So the idea that, again, something is living in that real type of object, it almost reminds me of the Hulden folk, who I've talked about as one of my other favorite videos, who also in this case lived within mounds of rocks, some kind of rocks or some kind of caves. And when that happened, you're also supposed to be very respectful. That's essentially what it reminded me of. But anyone there from the Philippines, anyone have any more info I might have missed, please post those comments below. Maybe somebody had come across an actual Nuno Sa Punso mound, whether it's an anthill or termite mound, and you know that something was there and you passed it by in a respectful manner and everything was okay afterward. If anyone has done that, then please let me know below. So, all right, everyone. Thanks again as always. Take care. Bye.